Good afternoon. Hope you're up and about. I'll just come and make sure everything's okay. First shock of the day, or is it? Newcastle getting trounced late on by Bournemouth. You'd have thought Newcastle were involved in the Champions League. So if there's anybody about, if you could just say hello in the chat, and that would be excellent. Then we can get up and running. Hi, Stephen. Nice to see you. Hi, Trevor. Nice to see you as well. So I take it everything's okay. You can see in here just a little bit of a delay, but I hope it's not too worrisome. I hope you're not getting distracted by the vibration plate, which I've just got my feet on. Just give me a bit of the old massage while I'm doing this. So let's just have a look. We've got the Bundesliga beginning, and don't forget, this is a very important pointer. It's, well, if I can type, it is Tuesday and Wednesday, and I gave you this in a review preview video today. Just be careful of this lot. Monaco, loss. Dortmund, loss. Stuttgart and Freiburg, well, Stuttgart have the lead. They don't tend to be affected by pre-Champions League ordinarily. They seem to have a very good record, or at least they don't cock things up, put it that way. As you can hear there, Galatasaray drawing yesterday. Dortmund losing yesterday. Monaco losing yesterday. No coincidence whatsoever. Benfica seem to have had an easy round of it, but Bologna drawing at the moment as well. So we must be aware Liverpool are away today. Quite a tricky match, I would suspect. Away at Brentford, who just scored 2 late goals against Man City. Leipzig, well, they are wobbly at the best of times, aren't they? Add in that pre-Champions League element. Brest are playing. Celtic, Feyenoord are playing. Bayern Munich playing today. Look to have a relatively comfortable afternoon, you'd think. But AC Milan playing. Girona just drawing against Monza, who I think they conceded first to. And that's confirmation of the opening goal for Stuttgart. Paris Saint-Germain playing again today, I think. Arsenal and Aston Villa both playing today. Aston Villa are away from home. But are Arsenal going to be vulnerable pre-Champions League? And already you can see Stuttgart score, Freiburg equalise. But we've got on paper, certainly well worthy of our attention. So I hope you're all okay over on YouTube. So let's have a quick look at the matches of interest. Well, the Freiburg goal being disallowed, but if it is a 1-0, particularly late on, be a good opportunity to take on that lead. I'll just get rid of the volume and see if we can get some other football on. So I'm trying to get the Bundesliga up. So we'll just get rid of a few of these. Girona and Sevilla. An opening goal for Girona, and they've conceded. Again, is this going to be the Champions League? Scoring first and then conceding next, just as Stuttgart have done. So we can get rid of a few of these. Clermont Foot and Laval. 1.85 pre-match favourite. Well, not many shots on target. We'll keep an eye on that. Might want to be looking at a late winner. Clermont Foot. Well, where's that second goal? That's the problem there, taking on that draw. Gaziasir and Bodrum, 2 of the lower lights. I think we've got better football to pick. Monza scoring first, 20th in the league, but Bologna pre-Champions League. Well, looks like the curse isn't affecting them just yet. 35 minutes in there. Modena and Frosinone could be one for us to look. Second half, well, we've got a red card in play already. So there's possibilities here for Modena. The red card has come in the 27th minute. We haven't really had a reaction yet from Modena, but 3 of their 4 corners have come after the red card. Certainly one to follow up on, particularly if it's a draw at half-time. Cittadella Mantova, evens favourite, so might be one to investigate, particularly with those 23 dangerous attacks. Salernitana and Reggiana, much of a muchness this, and the market tells you as much as well. English League One, Northampton and Lincoln, 1.83 away favourite, 12th against 18th. Again, could be one to look for second half goals. So with that in mind, I'll just get soccer stats up. So we'll have this up and ready for us to check out these second half stats. Now I've added a new column here, goals scored second half average last 5 matches. Might be helpful to you for any 0-0s at half time. So I'm trialing it at the moment, but it might give us, certainly here, look, 1.4, 1.4, but we're not seeing it. But this is the last 5 matches worth of goals second half. So that's a good addition. I quite like that. Leipzig are opened up against Bochum Dano. Stuttgart have opened up, so no Champions League worries just yet. I'll just turn that volume down a little bit. Goals scored, there's a second half one. I quite like that. Goals conceded second half average. Perhaps we can include that element as well. Over 2.5 goal percentage. Is that going to fit in? Let's get rid of, I don't really need to know injuries, so we can get rid of that table. Goal over 2.5 goal percentage. But is that the last 5 matches, or is that all season? I'm not too sure. But these look like a decent additions, don't they? Pre-match stats. Particularly the second half stats. I quite like that addition to the in-play guru. So I hope you're all okay. Everything's going all right on YouTube. Not many visitors today, which is a pity. Only 10 people, so a bit debilitating, but there we go. So that's it at the moment. We've got to wait for that red card, probably a second half attack of the draw. So we move on down. Northampton and Lincoln, no great shakes there, but 1.83 away favourite has got the first goal. And the Bundesliga is beginning. We normally have a goal before half time in a Hoffenheim match. We're 9 minutes in. You can see if you can get 15 minutes out of that first. Normally tend to deliver before half time. So you'll be looking at these kind of markets. The draw 2.36. Half-time score, that 0-0 perhaps, or first half 0.5. Already gone up from 1.3. My idea would have been pre-match to have laid that over 0.5 and then wait and hopefully get shorter odds for the half-time draw and then lay that at odds on. That would be an idea to try to eke out some money. The only other way, wait 15 minutes or so. They don't have any first half goal stats. Those would be very useful indeed. Let's just go back. First half goal stats. Well, we do. Goals scored first half average. So let's include that. And you should see Hoffenheim way up there. 1.8. Well, 1.8 for Holstein Kiel. I'm not sure that's accurate. First half average, that's the last 5 matches as well. So Bologna, I think I'll take them off the watch list. Champions League, Bologna look to be delivering. But Girona might be vulnerable. You can see that today. Have they got that eye on their Champions League football. They're playing AC Milan. They're away at AC Milan. Such a relatively small side, Girona. So there's possibilities there. Cremonese and Cosenza, 1.6 home favourite, starting to light up the attacking pressure index. There's the Leipzig goal. But if ever these sides are gettable, it will be today. And if you can get them at very, very short odds, why not? You've seen already yesterday a few of these sides cocking things up. Bayern Munich looking okay, but it looks like they've got an easy run of it today. 1.13 favourites. Normally after 20 minutes, if it's still 0-0, you might want to look at 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted for Bayern, although their last win against Borussia Mönchengladbach needed a second half goal, but they were 3-0 up against the Hoff before half time. Excellent performance there. Stuttgart doing a job so far, so keep an eye on Bayern. 20 minutes in, if we don't see a goal, possibilities there. Just get rid of a few of these. It's 3-1 up already for Metz, so we can hide that one. So 3 o'clock will bring, of course, a whole flurry of matches. So this is an early start. Some interest, as you can see, from the half, 12 minutes in, and from Bayern Munich, already 72 attacking pressure index. Unlikely we're going to see a changed Bayern Munich team. And these are all the odds-on favourites. Did I get all of the leagues? Well, I can have a quick look while it's a little quiet. Catch up with the others. Get rid of the leagues we don't need. We've got a lot of the summer leagues just having a kick about. The Finns. We'll probably see some Irish pre-seasons as well. The Irish Premier League, Irish First Division comes on board. There we go, Shelbourne and Waterford. So these are all to look forward to. And don't forget, if you're interested in tennis, it's going to be serving you well over the summer months as the football takes a backseat. Look at all of these friendlies. Wow. We've got a second goal for Leipzig. Now they might be vulnerable, or maybe not. They might be layable, certainly, with that pre-Champions League in mind, if they do rest some players. But it looks like, again, playing the right team pre-Champions League in Bochum, not the greatest side on the planet. Besiktas odds on later on. Just going to pick up some of the odds ons. There's no trades on at the moment. Servette odds on later on. I'm sure the young boys will be involved in Europe. We can get rid of a few of these as well. And Sudan, don't think we'll need Sudan. Spanish La Liga 2, Levante and Granada, 1.8. So we've got an odds-on favourite there. I'll just collect the odds-ons. They might give us a trading angle or two. And we've got the Scottish Cup today. So Celtic, are they going to be resting a few players because they're involved in the Champions League? Are they up for the Cup? Are they going to be risking any of the big guns with the Cup when they could be going deeper in the Champions League? So that's going to be something for their manager to try and solve today. So I think that's all of the odds-ons at the moment. Well, it's a little quiet early doors. That's the third division. I thought we might have some Dutch Cup football today, but no. So that's what we've got at the moment. Mexico, Malta. I think I've got all of the odds-ons, and we can be up and running now. So they're all going to be appearing here. I'll be getting alerted when there's a goal coming in an odds-on favourite match. You can see yesterday, Monaco, very solid, really. But pre-Champions League, letting a lead slip and losing late on. Typical pre-Champions League performance, you'd have to say there. But Lille managed to get the win. So which one of Liverpool, Arsenal and Aston Villa are going to cock things up? The German Bundesliga sides are having no trouble at all. Stuttgart 2-0 up. Leipzig 2-0 up. No worries at all for them today. They're not affected. But we need to try and suss out which ones are affected. Hi, Stuart, and hi, Michael and Colin. Nice to see you all. Thanks for coming along. So it's warming up nicely. You can see, well, Modena have got that goal before half-time, and Sevilla. We were waiting, well, I was waiting second half for that Modena. But this is the real advantage if you can keep an eye on the in-play stats. I'm afraid I went over here. But if you can keep an eye and see them develop, you can maybe have a little punt in the half-time market there. So that's one which, alas, we didn't profit from. But that's what you want to see in reaction to a red card, isn't it? Red card appears, attacking pressure, boom, boom, boom. If you're not wholly confident because of the time, why don't you go in the half-time market? You get very, very decent odds. Look at Girona. 1-2 down. Why are they 1-2 down? Pre-Champions League. Which of these sides are going to cock it up today, if any? We don't know. Bayern Munich 16 minutes in at 1.13. Still not broken through against the Wolf. Stuttgart, I wouldn't be taking them on. I might take Leipzig on. They did concede 2 goals in a 4-2 win against Werder Bremen. This is pre-Champions League for Leipzig. They are away from home. If the odds are short enough, you can throw some money away at this just in case they cock things up. And at 1.15 so early in the match, well, look at the liability. It's nothing much to worry about, is it? You could have a little dip in there and even just a quid there, just to have a little go, just in case the curse, as you see with Girona, pops up late on. They are away from home. These things tend to happen more with the away sides involved in the Champions League. So just to remind you, Tuesday's sides, Atalanta, Sturm Graz, Monaco, lost. Aston Villa away at the Arsenal. Atletico Madrid playing later on. Bayer Leverkusen playing now, I think. Or, no, a bit later on, Bayer Leverkusen. Benfica won yesterday. Barcelona, don't think they're playing today. Bologna, well, 2-1 up against Monza, so that's okay. Might be labelled late on, just with the curse in mind. Dortmund, loss. Club Brugge, not sure when they're playing. Juve, playing today. Got a tough fixture, I think, with Atalanta. I'll have to double check that. Red Star Belgrade, PSV Eindhoven. Watch out for them. Liverpool away at Brentford. That's no gimme at all, is it? Brentford's 2 goals against Man City might suggest some fun and games today. Remember, Arne Slot, his sole loss against Nottingham Forest came pre-Champions League. So you get the pattern. Slovan are playing Stuttgart, who've already got a 2-goal lead. Galatasaray drew yesterday when utterly dominated. So you see that kind of a pattern. I'm not sure we've got the Conference League yet. Wednesday's sides. So have these in the back of your mind. Leipzig, we've just laid. Why not? Sporting Lisbon. I think they're playing later on. So just be careful with them. Shakhtar Donetsk and Brest playing later on in French Ligue 1. There they are. They're away at Rennes. So watch out. They're not even favourite. So just be careful with Brest. Could be vulnerable today. Another, like Girona, not a big name, but involved in the Champions League. So I think they'd be prioritising Champions League over a win against Rennes. But it is a local derby of sorts. So that's the added element. Celtic, Champions League against the Young Boys on Wednesday. So they've got a 3-day gap or 4-day gap, which isn't too bad. And Bayern Munich have opened the score against Wolfsburg. I was waiting for that 20-minute entry point, and bang. What a pity. 1.13. I would normally suggest waiting 20 minutes. 1-0, 2-0, any unquoted in the half-time score market. As you can see, that's what we expect of these short odds. And it's 0-3 to Leipzig. So, well, that's not happening, is it? But I'm just going to have a bit of fun for the sake of another quid. We can just top this up. Highly unlikely Leipzig are going to cock this up from here on in. Looks like they're playing a good opponent pre-Champions League. But we've seen time and time again the vulnerability of these teams. So no worries if you want to take on. You're not doing anything wrong. I think it's a good option. You're going to get your Monacos, you're going to get your Dortmunds, but it's just sussing out which one. Girona, for example, obviously distracted. Very poor shots on target. No real momentum, is there? There's 10-minute gap, then another 9-minute gap or 8-minute gap, and then a huge gap to the next shot on target. No real momentum. You can tell that with the graph as well. Flatlined throughout. Clermont Foot 13th against 7th, but odds on at home. We can have a quick look while it's a little quiet. See if there's any expectation for late goals. What a pity I can't get the Bundesliga to start. I've got those streaming problems. Well, where's that second goal for Clermont? So 2-1-1s and a 2-1 win against Lorient. 81st minute penalty. Looks like they've got a bit of trouble in front of goal, don't they? So they did get an 89th minute goal there. 89th minute goal there as well. Yadali Diaby. He turns up with the old 89th minute goals. So does Yadali Diaby fancy it late on? 86th minute there, 88th minute there. So 85th minute there. So possibilities. I'm not going to get too carried away with this particular one. Just the 3 goals conceded, 2 goals scored. 7 goals scored by Laval in the last 15 minutes. St. Pauli have taken the lead against Heidenheim. This is newly promoted St. Pauli. Let's have a look at the pre-match odds for St. Pauli. 2.9 the favourite, 2.38 the favourite, sorry. So, not too sure about how to read that one. 2 mediocre sides. We don't want to get too carried away with this lot. But we can have a quick look while it's quiet for a Saturday. Only the 4 wins for Heidenheim all season. St. Pauli, 2 consecutive 1-0 defeats and a 0-1 win against Stuttgart, which is very impressive given Champions League status of Stuttgart. But where's that second goal for St. Pauli? They did score it against Holstein Kiel and the Hoff, but those were the only examples since the 5th of October. Heidenheim themselves struggling as well. But they have scored 5 goals in the last 2 matches. So, wow. Was that Bayern and Wolfsburg 1-1? I chose the wrong team to lay, the wrong Champions League side to lay. Could this be one of those interesting matches? Wow. There's that goal before half-time for the Hoff. And I should have got involved after 20 minutes. I hope you did. So I'm missing out on some fun there. Champions League, Bayern Munich conceding. Should have been laid really at 1-0 up. It's a lay to nothing. Did any of you get involved in the first half there with Hoffenheim and Holstein Kiel? The Hoff, we tend to see goals before half time in Hoff matches. So Heidenheim, 5 goals in 2 matches. Are they going to be a threat to St. Pauli today? We're dealing with 14th and 15th, so not the best sides on the planet. But note, 3 clean sheets. Are they really going to concede a second goal? St. Pauli did score 2 goals against the Hoff. So keep an eye on the in-play stats here. We might have a play taking on St. Pauli today. So I'll just bring that match up for us to look at. Laval, 7 goals scored in the last 15 minutes of away matches, but looks like Clermont Foot are going to survive and pick up yet another 1-1. 4th against 19th, 1.6 home favourite. Possibilities to lay that draw second half. Let's have a look. Cremonese and Cosenza, 1.6 home favourite. Why are they 1.6 home favourite? Let's have a look. Cremonese and Cosenza. A good unbeaten run for Cremonese of late, not conceding that second goal, keeping it tight. Tend to get clean sheets, 5 clean sheets in the last 8 matches. Cosenza, well, they haven't been able to get a win since the 22nd of November. It is 1-1 at the moment, isn't it, this one? 10 goals conceded. Conceded in the last 10 matches. 3 consecutive away defeats for Cosenza. Stuttgart making it 3-0. Comfortable afternoons for the Champions League sides, apart from Bayern Munich. That's the puzzle. Which one of these sides is going to cock it up? Well, you've got your answer there with Bayern, don't you? 4th against 19th. 3 goals scored away against 17th, 4 away against 18th, playing 19th with home advantage. They lost 1-0 to them last time. Did score 2 goals against Salernitana at the bottom, but as far as 16th and above is concerned, real troubles for Cremonese scoring that second goal. Cosenza, well, they do have those 2 goals in them at times against 13th and 14th. But they do concede 2 goals as well. Whenever they've scored 2, they've conceded 2. So that's a concern. So it's 1-1 at the moment. Second half goal scoring. And let's have a look. Well, it's not that standout, is it? It is for the away side, Cosenza. 67% of their goals scored. 57% conceded come second half. But Cremonese, why are they 1.6 favourite today? It's not the best form on the planet, is it? Maybe down to the fact that the away side are so poor. That's why they're 1.6 home favourite. And maybe down to their 3 and 4 goals away from home against sides around Cosenza's. We can get rid of Stuttgart now. They look very well up for it. Bayern Munich and the Wolf. That Wolfsburg goal from open play. Yeah, it looked as if it was, yeah. But another, wow, 7 goal attempts to 1. Any changes? Harry Kane up front. Oh, Michael Olise. Leroy Sané. Kingsley Coman. It's a pretty rock solid front 4. They don't have the old dear, what's his name, playing today. Thomas Muller. He's probably nurses giving him a bed bath, I think, old Thomas. And he's getting some Werther originals. He's going to settle in for some last of the summer wine later on. So no problems yet, apart from Bayern, Champions League wise. What is a quiet opener although we should have got that goal before half-time. In a Hoffenheim match, Cittadella and Mantova, evens favourite at home. I like what I'm seeing there, dangerous attacks-wise, and I like that as well. Let's have a look at that one. But again, two of the lower tiers in a lower league. Am I just getting involved because it's a little quiet? That's the problem. Cittadella and Mantova. Cittadella deserve an equaliser. Evens favourite. It's not the strongest favourite on the planet. But if you're into the in-play stats, you'll have liked what you've seen there. And as well, both teams have scored in 3 of the last 4 matches with wins for Cittadella. So that will give them a little bit of confidence, I think. Oh, excuse the yawn. 3 of their goals scored second half against Reggiana. We've got a goal for Fleetwood Town against Salford City. Let's just bring up my games in case it's an odds on. That will tell me if it is. Indeed it is. So which of these 2 sides it's odds on? That's for us to investigate in League 2. 1.85 Salford have conceded the first goal. So immediately in League 2, that's going to get my attention. So let me just target Salford and Fleetwood. 3rd against 17th. So there is possibilities here. And while it's a little quiet, let me break off and have a look at this League 2 match. Let's just finish off with the Cittadella. Possibility of second half goal. Conceded in the last 11. No win in 11 away for Mantova. Does that suggest we automatically take on Mantova today? A couple of 2-2s against 18th and 19th, playing 15th today. 2-2 there as well. So they do have 2 goals in them. But the question is whether they're 2 consecutive goals. Or if you want to go neutral, you could go over 1.5 goals second half, or even over 2.5 goals second half with a single goal being scored. In case you're worried about that second consecutive goal, you can see all of those 2-2s. So they do score 2 goals, but they are vulnerable. Cittadella, nice pair of wins against 9th and 12th, but a little bit wheels falling off and a few too many 0-0s. But recent form, I think, could be the key angle here. Ultra recent Reggiana and Palermo. That's those 2 wins here. So they are winning all of a sudden recently. Let's have a look at Cittadella Mantova. I'll give you a look in. And Cambridge United have an opening goal against Bolton. And that, again, you hear that sound in the background. That's the sound of an odds-on favourite match. So we can investigate this as well. I suggest Bolton would be the odds-on favourite here. 1.4. Certainly going to get our interest. This one, League 1, Bolton. Bring that one up. And don't forget, those of you who are fans of these sides, and you know more than I do, don't hesitate to get involved. Okay, I've got to do a little bit of investigating. I don't like playing these lower tier leagues. I'm just going to get the old vibration plate on. Hopefully you're not going to be picking it up on the microphone. So we've already got this working for us, haven't we? So let's have a look. Cittadella Mantova, possibilities, you'd argue, wouldn't you? They do look quite good, Cittadella. Got another odds-on favourite goal. Well, this is Hibernian against Clydebank. I'd suggest Hibs are the odds-on favourite there. They're about 1.06, so they should be scoring 4 or 5 goals. Let's check out Salford City, 3rd in the league, against Fleetwood Town in League 2. Got to do our investigation. Cittadella, do you fancy taking on this Mantova second half? No win in 11 away. English Championship, English Premier League Championship, League 1. What was it again? League 2, Salford. That was the first goal to come in, so let's check that one out firstly. I don't know these teams very well, so I do have to do my checking. But as I said to you, if you know them better than I do and you're confident, why don't you pile in straight away? So let's have a look at that one. Derby and Watford is a 0-1. I don't think that's an odds-on favourite match. If it was, it would come up here. So we're okay in that regard. So let's get over, check out Salford and Fleetwood Town. 3rd against 17th. You'd have thought it would be an automatic choice for Salford, who are in a decent bit of form. Look at all of those clean sheets. That suggests to me it's going to be difficult for Fleetwood to score that second goal. Would you agree? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 clean sheets in the last 8 matches for Salford. Very, very impressive defensively, aren't they? So we're warming up nicely to this one, aren't we? No draw in 12 at home. Unlikely to be a 0-0, of course. It's not going to be a 0-0. That's a draw. No draw in 12 at home. So if they are to win, you'd think it's going to be a 2-1. Playing 18th, only had the one aberration, but you can cover that with insurance, that 0-1. Where's that second goal conceded against 11th and lower? I can't see it, can you? At home. Couple that in with the clean sheets. And the only thing that's going to do us is this kind of a performance out of nowhere for Fleetwood. And another 2-2 there. This is a problem with this lower tier league. You can get the odd shock result and a 2-3 win against Carlisle. But I think, can we rely on Salford? Let's have a look. I haven't looked at the in-play stats yet. I'm just looking at seasonal form, and the pre-match odds tie up with seasonal form, don't they? Are they really going to concede a second goal? As ever, you do your insurance, laying over 1.5 goals to cover that 1-0. Probably have to go match odds. Oh, this didn't get taken. So we have to go in again. Laying over 1.5 goals. There we go. Cheap enough insurance. Salford +1. Is it significantly bigger than 1.1? You could be tempted to stay here, to be honest. It is a really poor league. Don't forget, League 2. You could stay in here, still make a decent return with an equaliser. You also have the option, if you really fancied Salford today, of getting pretty decent odds. About a 1.95 shot with only a matter of 9 minutes gone in the match. You'd be splitting your stake here then. Cremonese have got that goal to make it 2-1 against Cosenza. Stoke City, Reggiana, red card against Salernitana at 0-0. We've got a goal in an odds-on favourite match. You can hear that in the background. Luckily, these websites are working today, sound-wise. They don't always. If you really fancied Salford today, bang, back then, lay Fleetwood. We did this with Man United, didn't we? Against Southampton. And I tempted you to stay in with that £9 loss on the draw. And Bayern Munich make it 2-1. You can hear the odds-on goals coming in. That's the Bayern one. West Brom and Stoke. Who's the odds-on favourite here? Is it the Baggies or the Potters? It is West Brom. Again, another one just to add to the watch list here. English Championship. So let's go down. Why are West Brom odds on? Maybe it's because Stoke are 19th in the league. That automatically is a pointer, isn't it? Got a couple of red cards just arrived. Dender, newly promoted Dender, are at home to Cercle Brugge after 10 minutes. And Reggiana at 0-0 in the 53rd minute against bottom of the table, Salernitana. Cittadella and Mantova. Well, I'm glad I didn't get involved in that one. It's now 0-2 to Mantova. That is the problem of us venturing into these lower tiers. Make a really solid argument, didn't I? And I was tempting myself in here for the 1-1. But those of you with a glass half full will see 0-2 as a possible angle. Look at Bochum starting to warm up nicely against the Champions League side Leipzig. Come on, the Bochum. Bochum Dano, as they say in Hawaii 5-0. That would be very nice indeed. So let me just pass on. Salford, I think we've got a very decent argument there. You can hear the goals coming in. Good afternoon, live stream at the moment. So if you want to see how the trades are placed, you come along, youtube.com/@football trading profits. Salford against Fleetwood is the first one to catch my eye. Fleetwood have scored first. Salford have been keeping clean sheets recently. That's what I'm banking on, them keeping Fleetwood out from scoring a second goal. They're also on a consistent run of wins as well, Salford. I've laid over 1.5 goals to cover the 0-1. And I'm stopping personally at the Salford City +1 market. It's a reasonable price. Wow. Breaking news, it's 0-2 to Fleetwood. Now, this is a warning for us going down to these lower tiers like this, but this presents a different opportunity now. You can't take insurance out, but I would head off to the match odds on this occasion. Lay Fleetwood Town and back Salford City. So a warning heading down to these lower tiers, as I was just mentioning in the live stream, can be troublesome. But this is a good entry point for you. Lay Fleetwood now, 0-2 up, back Salford. They're on a winning run. Can they get out of it? Wow, that is a shock right in front of your eyes. We just had a look, didn't we, at the clean sheets? We've done our due diligence. But this is the concern going down to these lower leagues, as I've already alluded to. A big shock. Now we've got a Salernitana red card, I think. Oh, missed goal for Salernitana. So let's have a look at that Fleetwood second goal. Going +1 here would be advantageous because it would cover the 1-2 if Salford can make this 1-2. So this is a warning to you going down to these lower leagues. We can get these very strange results, can't we? Completely. We've done our due diligence, you know, can't complain. But now, this is a better entry point if you didn't get involved. This is a much, much better entry point. So if you go +1, you could stay in. But I would quite like to top up here. What I would normally do, just add another £5 and you'll still get a decent top up. What we're looking for, it would be a 1-2 for Salford. So you'll be laying Fleetwood half stake as liability. And you'll be backing Salford with a £5, add an extra 40 or so quid onto that, take that up to 100. Okay, it's still early in the match, only 14 minutes gone. But this is a warning to you. The only real times we make losses is when we head down to Serie B's, League Twos, League Ones, Scottish Championship, Scottish League One, that kind of thing. We are going to make losses now and again, but hopefully we'll have a chance for Salford City. Now, if you've gone +1, I would just sit on that, because if you get a 1-2, you'll be able to get out of here with about a £5 to £7 loss. So we'll be really itching for that 1-2. You can't really take insurance out on a 0-2 lead unless you've done both teams to score. No, I've just added another £5 onto this. It will just take the average down if we can get that 1-2 for Salford. So a gentle warning to you going down to these lower tiers, League Ones and League Twos in particular. Look at this. We did all our due diligence. It was looking as rosy as you like, wasn't it? It was looking beautiful. Cremonese and Cosenza, 4th against 19th. Now, I was just warning you about going down to these lower tiers. 58 minutes in, do you fancy a lay the draw? of this one. Up to you. Do you fancy taking on that 0-2 lead for Mantova, or are you just going to give up on these lower tier leagues because they're going to kick us in the knackers now and again? 0-2 to the Hoff before half time. Got a couple of those. Well, there's a Frosinone equaliser against Modena. That's a red card as well. So you can see this Serie B is a bit wobbly. So we can get rid of the Hoff at the moment. Get rid of Leipzig at the moment. We'll be alerted if there's a 1-3 for Bochum. That would be most excellent. Bayern Munich. Well, if it's 2-1 late on for Bayern Munich, I would lay that late just because it's pre-Champions League. I like what I'm seeing from Cremonese, though. Do you? Can we trust that? Let's break off. Look at all this. It's all the due diligence done. Looking rock solid, isn't it? Where's that second goal for Fleetwood? Away. The last one. That's what I'm worried about. As suddenly they can beat top of the league 2-6. That pretty much sums up trading lower tier leagues, doesn't it? And Cittadella 1, Mantova 2. So just about to look at that 0-2. And I've missed out the opportunity there. But 107, you're going to be laying the draw, Cremonese and Cosenza. We can have a look if you fancy it. Or are you going to give up on these lower tiers? Cremonese and Cosenza, just based on the in-play stats, really. You can give yourself what I would normally like to do, and looks like I might have missed out this one, unless it's not in play. Some of these Serie Bs are not in play. What you could do, well, lay over 1.5 goals, over 2.5 goals, and then wait and lay the draw. But it looks like I might have missed out here, unless it's not in play. But 107 attacking pressure index is quite important. Let's have a look at some of our other odds-ons. Stuttgart penalty looks like they're having a comfortable time of it. 18 minutes in, no goal yet in the Champions League Liverpool match. Brentford coming off the back of that 2-goal haul against Man City. I think Fulham thoroughly deserve their odds-on status. Leicester are having trouble even scoring at home, which is most unlike a Ruud van Nistelrooy side. Atletico Madrid kicking off. And there's a goal for Reggiana against Salernitana. That's the 10 men of Reggiana. So Serie B is looking very ropey this afternoon, isn't it? Just looking at these odds-ons. Again, League 2. Are we going to be trusting League 2? I'll just collect these. Port Vale, Newport, Walsall and MK Dons. Port Vale, Newport, Walsall and MK Dons. Port Vale, Newport, Walsall and MK Dons. We've got the in-play stats. We're looking, I hope, for the match to unpack. There's the Cremonese. The draw, well, very illiquid. So I wouldn't be taking that 2.9. You'd have to wait for this to tighten up if you're going to play at all. But the in-play stats, particularly the attacking pressure index, is very solid indeed. 1.6 pre-match favourite, 4th in the league. Bit of drawitis, but a nice 3-goal haul against Frosinone last time. But doing their wins away from home, a couple of 1-1 draws, which is the current scoreline in the last 2 home matches. And indeed had trouble scoring that second goal against Cremonese in the last 2 head-to-heads. Well, 4-1 to Bournemouth, my brother's just told me. We were watching that match down at, took me out for lunch. So Cittadella Mantova, 0-2 was probably the best entry point there, wasn't it? I was quite taken by those 48 dangerous attacks. I think we get rid of this one. The red-carded Reggiana just scored, apparently. I've got Port Vale and Newport County. This isn't Barcelona, Real Madrid. You've just been warned of that with Salford against Fleetwood. So we've got to be ever so careful. Barnsley had a goal disallowed against Bristol Rovers. Port Vale and Newport, 4th against 19th. Again, league position, but that doesn't seem to be swapping or hindering Fleetwood Town. Port Vale and Newport, League 2. Do we just leave this league alone? Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2. Got it wrong with Salford so far. How about Port Vale? We've got another odds-on favourite. So let's have a look there. Port Vale, why are they such strong favourites? Is it down solely to that league position? Let's have a look. Port Vale, well, they've had 2 consecutive home 0-0s. They've failed to score in the last 3 at home. And you want me to back them at odds on? Right, okay. Are you Arthur Daly? No winning 4 at home and you want me to back you? Right, gotcha. Yeah, next please. You fall for that, you'll fall for anything. Goodness me. Is it just because Newport are pants? They've conceded 2+ goals against all of the top 7 they've played away from them. But suddenly, this is typical of English League 2. They can beat 2nd, 3rd and 4th at home. And they're playing 6th today, albeit away from home. Port Vale, unbeaten at home against 7th and lower. But then you just saw Salford, consecutive wins to 0, suddenly conceding 2 straight goals. So what are we going to trust? In-play stats, perhaps? So that's the challenge table. Tells us where these two are and what we should be expecting on seasonal form. Notably, 8 goals conceded second half, and they've already conceded in the first half. So, I don't like this League 2, do you? Not liking it much at all. Not very readable or trustworthy, is it? As a trading avenue. Unless you're following the Telegram, where you get involved at the 0-2, which would be far more appealing. So I'll just bring up the Liverpool match and I'll turn the volume down so I don't get a copyright strike. So you can see Cremonese and Cittadella, 4th and 15th. Good in-play stats, good dangerous attacks as well. So we've looked at Port Vale, Newport County, unbeaten, yes. At home, recent form is a bit poor, particularly at home, 2 consecutive 0-0s. Just going to have to wait to see if they come alive here. Salford, well, awful stuff, isn't it, for a side with wins to 0. West Brom and Stoke, 22 dangerous attacks to 8. Let's have a look at that. At least we're going up to a better quality league. English Championship. We've done all of our profits really over Christmas have been coming from these elite leagues, so do bear that in mind. Where are the baggies? They're down here. So let's just do a little bit of research into this one. A bit of drawitis for the baggies. Goodness me. Only 2 defeats since the 5th of October, but then only 4 wins. But 3 consecutive home wins is pretty solid, isn't it? 3 consecutive home wins. Michael Johnston scoring 2. And a lot of different goal scorers, which the manager will like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different goal scorers in the last 3 home wins. Is it the recent form we're going to be siding with? They're scoring 2+ goals as well. You'll note. Recently at home, Stoke, 2 consecutive 0-0s away. 3 consecutive clean sheets though. So that's interesting. But they have taken the league today. Are they really going to score a second goal? They did score 2 against Cardiff, but that was at home. and one of the Cardiff goals was an own goal. So, yeah, it looked as if one of the Cardiff goals was an own goal, but they did score 2 themselves, bookmarking that 1-2 lead for Cardiff. But that was with home advantage. Away, this was the last time they scored 2 goals, second goal being a penalty. They do look to have trouble, Stoke, don't they, scoring-wise. Now, if they're keeping 0-0s, they might be able to keep a 0-1. So that means if you're going to play, you're going to have to take out some insurance. Certainly against the top 7, just that single win against Blackburn Rovers and all other matches that failed to score in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matches against the top 17 away from home. The Baggies, well, they quite like it against teams below them in the league. Again, look at the clean sheets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clean sheets against teams 9th and lower. On paper, it looks exactly like Salford, doesn't it? It looks like a worthy home favourite. So I might give the Baggies a go against Stoke. Hope that those 0-0s for Stoke suggest they won't be scoring that second consecutive goal. They might keep the Baggies out, certainly. So again, my usual route. And if you wanted to cover that 0-2, then by all means, both teams to score no would help you out there. So I can walk you through that if you wanted, but this is the usual route. Don't forget both teams to score no. Will be quite high. Well, relatively high. You'll be looking to win your stake. This would cover the 0-2. 13 quid though. Then you'd still have to cover the 1-2 for Stoke as well. That would cost you a total of about £19. Whereas going this route costs you £6, but that just covers one scoreline. So laying over 1.5 goals, West Brom +1, if it's big enough, you could stop there. Similar odds to Salford, aren't they? But hopefully not the similar result. Now, I don't know if you want to go match odds here, given the fact that Stoke have had 2 consecutive 0-0s. They could. 3 consecutive clean sheets, by the way. So it could be a tricky one for the Baggies today. We just hope that Stoke don't score that second goal. At least that's what the form lines are saying. This is the only time they've scored 2 goals away from home. Did it appear recently? No, it didn't. 6th of November. Baggies, 1, 2, 3. There's a Port Vale equaliser against Newport. I was a bit shaken by that Salford City, but did you play this one? And again, a gentle reminder to you, if you've got in-play stats feed, stick with it, eh? I missed it again because I was investigating elsewhere. So you can often see a change in momentum where you were put off a bit earlier on, but then they suddenly put their foot on the gas. Cosenzo's a red card, says Bosun. Port Vale and Newport, says Stuart. Season ticket holder at Tranmere. Seen both of these teams, so unpredictable, says Stuart. Thank you very much. Hold Salford trade, says Michael. Fleetwood have a new manager. Ah, there we go, Stuart. That's local knowledge for you. Hi, Tads. Nice to see you. Very welcome. Thank you very much, Michael, for Stuart, for that. That's local knowledge. That's something I wouldn't have known. That's the new manager bounce. You saw it with Leicester City, didn't you? And with his first couple of matches, now the wheels have fallen off, of course. That will explain it all. Thank you so much. And that put me off this Port Vale equaliser. But people like Stuart, who know the league and know the teams, I hope might have pulled the trigger here with Port Vale and Newport. This is why I do this odds-on favourite list. This is why I do it specifically. I think we've got a good go, haven't we, with the Baggies? It looks okay, doesn't it? Done the due diligence again. Can't ask for more than this. 4 shots off 2 corners in reaction to the goal. It's against the Stoke side who've only scored that second goal once away from home. Yes, it did result in a win. And there you go. So I'll pass this one on to Telegrammers. +1, it's up to you, really. Again, if you're like Stuart and you know the leagues, you know the teams, you've got more knowledge than I have of these lower tiers, and you think the Baggies can pull this off. Yes, they're scoring 2+ goals regularly at home. That might help as well. I hope these will help, particularly the second half scoring average. This is a new set of stats. It'll take a little bit of getting used to, I think, and building up a little bit of confidence from the in-play guru. So I'll just have a break. Hi, Salford 0, Fleetwood 2. Still haven't seen a reaction yet from Salford City, but as one of the members has mentioned on the YouTube live stream, Fleetwood do have a new manager. You know all about new manager syndrome. It can cause some strange bounces like you've seen with Leicester City under Rude. And now the wheels have fallen off, of course, under Mr. Van Nistelrooy. I'm only mentioning West Brom and Stoke. We've looked at Stoke, a couple of 0-0s recently. They're leading West Brom 0-1. West Brom have been in winning form at home, scoring 2+ goals regularly. They're looking decent, Nick. So I would be looking at laying over 1.5 goals to cover that Stoke 0-1. Because of that recent set of 0-0s, they might keep a clean sheet. I've gone for West Brom +1. I think that's adequate enough. It's pretty decent odds, about 1.85 relative to the market. Those of you like Stuart, who's at the live stream, who know more about these lower tier sides, you might fancy the Baggies more. You can always go match odds, half stake, back West Brom, half stake as liability, lay Stoke. And of course, if you're attending the live stream, you'll know exactly how to place these plays. So we've got some hope, I think, with the Baggies. That would help alleviate any potential new manager bounce for Fleetwood. So thank you, Stuart, for that. It's just a pity we weren't alerted to that. And look at this, Newport County made it 1-2. This is exactly why English League 2 can be so difficult for me to trust as a trading vehicle. It's not the Bundesliga, it's not La Liga, it's not Atletico Madrid, is it? It's not Antoine Griezmann getting you out of the doo-doo late on, or Kylian Mbappe popping up with a late winner. It's some bloke from the lower tiers popping up with a goal. So let's just catch up. More Champions League woes potentially. Pek Zwolle have taken the lead against pre-Champions League PSV Eindhoven. We're going to have to make sure we follow the in-play stats, because one or two of these Champions League sides are going to cock it up. That is for sure. So let's just check our odds-ons. There's that note there, Pek Zwolle. And we've got an equaliser for Bolton, 1.4. I didn't play, I didn't get to. And MK Dons. So I hope you're following these up yourselves, these odds-on favourites. I did mention them, didn't quite get to it. Wasn't seeing a whole lot, but we've got a 1.4 favourite at home. You could have backed at 2.6, which is delightful, really, isn't it? Those of you who know English League One, I hope you played. So I was just put off by that Salford Fleetwood result. I shouldn't really be put off by it, because we've missed out on that Bolton play and on that Port Vale equaliser, arguably. But now it's 1-2 to Newport County. We can check that second Newport County goal. Was it from open play? Yes, it was. Oh, Greavesy helping out Evans there. I don't know much about Newport, but Bolton certainly should have been a lot more confident at 1.4 to get that equaliser. So that's one which we missed out on. Pek Zwolle and PSV. Well, PSV, if anywhere near their best, should take this lot apart, but it is, as you know. Well, there's Feyenoord looking on Tuesday. Don't forget, Dortmund have already lost. Girona have already lost. Monaco have already lost. Question mark, PSV away at Red Star. Are they going to lose today? Question mark. So this is the weekend. Look at this. What on earth is happening? 1.4 Bolton. 1-2 down. This is a great advert for you to not trade English League One, English League Two. Goodness me. It's all over the place, isn't it? But that could give us another angle in, potentially. But are you going to risk it? Wow. Great advert for staying with the elites, I think. Play what you're confident with. I would go as far down as the Championship with some matches. Certainly the Premier League, we've made a lot of money in the Premier League, haven't we? Over Christmas and in the FA Cup, with all the reliable Premier League sides in the FA Cup delivering at odds on at home. A lot more reliable than Bolton v Cambridge. No offence to Bolton or Cambridge fans. So let's keep an eye on the in-play stats. 79th minute, Cremonese, 4th in the league against Cosenza, 19th in the league. Could be one. Now we've got a red card in play for Cosenza. This could be one where you could have a quick punt. And I'll show you how. And take a third of liability as loss. The draw for an odds-on favourite against 10 men is okay. Just wait for it to get a bit tighter. You can see the lack of liquidity in the market, 1.78 to 1.85. Just wait for it to settle down, get a little bit tighter. What you can do, it'll be a full stake play, but get out with a third of liability as loss. Secondary, you could quite simply just delay. Hope it stays 1-1 for long enough for you to get a lay the draw on at lower odds. Therefore, you don't have to risk much more money. There we go. I've got the Premier League working again. So 0-0 for Champions League Liverpool away at Brentford in what I think is going to be a tough afternoon for them. Cremonese and Cosenza, if you wanted to start laying the draw now, you could do it there. That's a very nice return, isn't it? If they can cross the line. If you're not happy with the league or the teams, you can give yourself a third of liability as loss. In this case, it will be when it hits a £13 loss. You've got until it hits 1.41 to decide whether to stay in to the death or whether to take a third of liability as loss, saying you've given them a nice chance. They're playing 10 men. They're odds-on favourite. We've got a goal back for Bochum, Dano, against Leipzig. Let's have a break and have a look. Probably not done any real damage, but this is the weekend where you take on Champions League sides. There we go. Look at that. Don't spend it all at once, that 55p. Come on. Do seek some financial advice, please. Invest wisely, that 59p. I know you're already flicking through the real estate section in the Côte d'Azur. It's now up to 65p, but it's all relative to the amount risked, of course. But we're up and running. Is this going to be the collapse of pre-Champions League Leipzig? Bochum, desperate need for points themselves as well. This is the time to take on these sides. Now, pre-Champions League. So we're up and running there. So that could be some fun. Cremonese. Up to you if you want to look for the full 90 minutes. But as you can see, we're already at a £4 loss. What I would ordinarily do would be to lay over 3.5 goals, over 2.5 goals, but it's far too high, isn't it? Normally do that at the beginning of half time about here. But boom, 6.5 all the way down. So I don't like the league. You've already seen what a mess League Two and League One is. Serie B can be the same. So up to you if you want to take the full hit or take a third of liability as loss. Or you can just get out now. Oh, is this a goal? If it's Cremonese who scored, we are going to be cleaning up here. It is Cremonese who've scored. Excellent stuff. That's more like it, isn't it? Now, please don't take this as granted, okay? I know it sounds obvious. Odds on favourite at home against 10 men. Going to push on and win now. So I might as well hold on for the extra £5. Don't. I could tell you some horror stories. Take it, please. Take the green, run to the hills. Okay? Now, what we were going to do, we were going to wait until 1.41. If we hadn't seen that goal by then, I would be getting a bit the old Fergie squeaky bum time. I would be getting out. I just don't like Serie B. Now, this will compensate for any cock-up from Fleetwood Town, won't it? Or not from Fleetwood Town, from Salford, but Fleetwood Town, new manager. So I hope you got involved there. Stoke have recently changed manager as well to Mark Robbins. Oh boy, Stuart. Stuart's got all the info that we need. Thanks very much for that, Stuart. But a couple of 0-0, Stuart. Obviously been working defensively, but still got that trouble with that second goal, haven't they? But it's a very important point that Stuart makes about these new managers. They can really make a big difference. So thank you very much, Bosun, for that information. I'm sorry I can't get this to pin out, pop out, and stay out. So if any of you have got any idea how I can keep this pinned on each screen that I go past, then I'll be able to stay in contact with you. That would be fantastic. I might have a look online to see if there's a specific tool that will pin this. If you know what I'm saying, pin this to a screen and have it up wherever I go, because then that way I can keep up with Stuart's excellent feedback, particularly about new managers. It really does make a difference, doesn't it? Now we know all about why Fleetwood are leading. We might know now why Stoke are leading, but I do like the reaction. I do like the reaction from the baggies, don't you? No shots on target, 7 off 4 corners, 39 dangerous attacks. And we know, don't we, that they like scoring 2 goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 recent home matches they've scored 2+ goals without losing. This is probably what Stuart's alluding to. You can see a sudden change, can't you, for Stoke City? Tightening that defence after conceding 2 goals in 6 consecutive matches. It does look deeply contrasting, doesn't it? That's all about new manager syndrome. So thank you very much, Stuart, for all of that. Very good information. And it also can put you off. And if you do insurance and you're put off by what Stuart says, you can always, which is the advantage of insurance and +1, you can always get out. Click that, go to West Brom +1, and as you can see, it's equal. So if you're a little shaken by what Stuart has told us about the potential new management for Stoke, getting them a potential change, you can cash out of this and cash out of this, and you will be break even. So don't forget that. That's one of the advantages of doing insurance. I tend to do this sometimes late on. If we've got a niggly 1-0 like this, a niggly 0-1, and we're suddenly starting to see perhaps 2 or 3 shots on target for Stoke City, or they've got a good second half goal scoring record, you might want to be a bit, just think about getting out if you're just not 100%. It's not something we could have done here, alas, because we really do need that 1-2 from Salford to get us out of the +1s. But now we've got that Cremonese profit, which is the advantage of you turning up here. Thank you very much, Bosun, for that red card for Cosenza, because that added a bit of confidence to that lay, didn't it? It's a very, very good lay the draw, that, wasn't it? Very, very good value. You wouldn't have spotted this pre-match. You wouldn't have thought, I'm going to get involved in this match pre-match. This is all reactive trading. We're reacting to what's happening. That, to me, is the best way to create value. It really is. 66 dangerous attacks to 21, Cittadella and Mantova. only evens pre-match favourite, not exactly the strongest home favourite you're ever going to see. I don't know what's going on with my... I wanted to watch the Liverpool match, but sod's law, really. The match you want to see. Probably got too much going on with the Wi-Fi. Northampton and Lincoln, 1.83 away favourite already. Got the goal, so we can get rid of that one. Port Vale and Newport, this is one of those strange results like Bolton and Cambridge, you know. Odds on at home, 1.5, 1.4, and they're 1-2 down at half-time. We can check the second half scoring record, or we can just say to ourselves, well, we are coming up nearly to February, nearly to the end of the season. We're going to see some fight from these lower tier or relegation threatened teams. We're going to see some fight from them. They can't keep, lying down, getting their tummy tickled all the time. They've got to get up. They've got to battle for 3 points. And we're probably going to see results like this against top tier sides as well. Unexpected. So watch out for that. Just adds a bit of bit more intrigue into these weekends, along with the pre-Champions League and pre-Europa League element. Watch out, PSV. If you fancied a tickle, you could go into the half-time market. But don't forget, this is a pre-Champions League PSV. Bochum, Dano. I told you one of these two is going to cock it up. Here we go. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's 2-0 to Bochum, Dano. Fantastic stuff. Now, risk-reward wise, it's a 2-1 risk-reward. So if that was 54 quid, that'd be 107. So don't complain that it's just an 11 quid profit. It's all about how much you've risked, of course, isn't it? If you put the decimal point to the right, that will be to the right, and that'll be 110 quid. But this is excellent, isn't it? This is precisely why we take on these Champions League sides at such short odds, particularly when they are away from home. So I'll just pass this on to Telegrammers, if I did pass this on initially, just to tell them if they're worried about any loss for Fleetwood, this could compensate for it. So great stuff from Bochum. Don't forget that Leipzig did concede 2 goals against Werder Bremen last week. Bochum v Champions League. And Cremonese make it 3-1 to confirm that. And thanks very much to Bosun for that red card information there. I hope other members saw it before I did, of course, and took action on that. It's great to have a lay the draw second half with a red card and an odds-on favourite at home. The first pre-Champions League cock-up. From 0-3 to 2-3. Cash in or hope for a 3-3. Good stuff, eh? That's all about pre-Champions League weekend. You think 0-3 is obvious. I might not do it, though, with the likes of Atletico Madrid, for example. They are just rock solid at the moment. So let's just have a look through. Spanish Segunda, Cadiz, playing El Denza, 2.4 the favourite, but I like those secondary stats for El Denza, but 2.4 the favourite tells you it's probably not a match to fixate on. Top of the league, Atleti. Where are they? They're playing Bayer Leverkusen on Tuesday. You can check whether sides have this curse of the Champions League by going here to uk.soccerway.com, looking at all matches, and you're looking at performances pre and post Champions League. You don't see that problem. Well, it's very, very good. You maybe do see this problem. Look at this lead here, 1-3 to Sevilla. So you might see the odd slip up, and only a 1-0 win against Getafe. Care of a 69th minute goal for Sorloth. So maybe our old pals Atleti do struggle a little. That needed a 76-minute penalty and another Sorloth get you out of jail card. So watch out today. It does look like Atleti, despite getting the wins, they could be a decent trading side. They could go down today. So that's what we're looking for, this kind of potential for these pre-Champions League sides, just to have a bit of a collie wobble. West Ham Palace is like watching paint dry, says Ashley. Bosun, all 3 English Premier League matches are 0-0 at half-time. Surely they're not going to end 0-0, says Bosun. We know a stat tool which will help. Tads, a tool called Desk Pins. Thank you very much for that, Tads. Desk Pins. I'll just make a note of that. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Have I got my notepad? I'll just put Desk Pins in here. So I'll try that next time, Tats, and I do appreciate your feedback there. Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much. So Bosun is quite right. And breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. How about that? Add that onto Cremonese, and aren't you thankful you've turned up to this live stream? Now, I would recommend you cashing out here. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. This is all down to pre-Champions League. Time to cash out. Lovely jubbly. Please take the money, run to the hills. Don't wait to come back to £5. Please. Fabulous stuff from Bochum. Brilliant. Brilliant. They're fighting for their lives. Leipzig are about as reliable as an Arthur Daly motor. And wonderful stuff. Please cash out. Okay. Add that to Cremonese. And Fleetwood are a distant memory. How about that? £78. You can ignore this now. It's a distant memory. We've still got a chance of a goal. This is Bundesliga, far better for me than League One, League Two. Fantastic stuff. Well done to Bochum Dano. Excellent. Really good to see. I really like what I'm seeing from the Baggies here. I just hope they can continue with that concerted pressure in the second half. No shots on 8 off 4 corners, but as Stuart's rightly told us, any shock result today will probably be down to this new manager bounce. Bayern Munich make it 3-1. So we've chosen the right team to take on in the Champions League, haven't we? Citadella Mantova, well, I'll give that 70 dangerous attacks, obviously. Mr. Magoo up front for them. I don't know if you trust Port Vale and Newport County. I will leave that up to you. We're just waiting to see whether we can get a reaction from Salford second half. We can have a look at their goal scoring record second half. Premier League Championship, I think it's League Two, is it? And this is where you get most of your losses occurring. Salford and Fleetwood. Let's have a look. Just at the goal times, second half, if Fleetwood can concede, and indeed Salford can profit. Well, what I can do, thanks to Bosun, well, 6 goals conceded by Salford. We don't want to see that, do we? We want to see goal scoring. 10 goals scored away in the last, in the second half, 62%. So not the best set of stats. But Bosun has mentioned those 0-0s in the Premier League. So let's have a look. Liverpool, Brentford. This is an experiment. Laying over 0.5 goals with half of the stake I want to use. That While it remains 0-0, this will start turning into a profit. While it remains 0-0, the draw odds will start getting lower and lower and lower. Eventually, this profit will equal this loss. You can lay the draw, and then you can get out with a break even if you don't get a goal. So we'll try that with the Premier League matches. West Ham and Palace, as you know very well, it's a local derby. There's a PSV goal before half-time if you did play. Pre-Champions League PSV. West Ham, new manager. Crystal Palace. Again, we know all about new managers. So this is a tricky one. London derby as well. You could do this. This is quite high, isn't it? Compare this to that 1.13 we saw in that last Liverpool match. So this is going to be a bit high. And what you can do then, just wait for the draw odds to get lower. And you can see compared to Liverpool, 3.85, they're all the way down to 2.38 already. So you could hope that this remains 0-0 for a lot longer. Then you can lay the draw at lower odds. And hopefully I'll get the opportunity to show you. But worst case scenario, you'll be losing £8 if we get an early goal. We're looking for this to remain tight late on. You can pick up 40, 50 quid profits doing it this way, as long as you get that 0-0 for a concerted period of time. The other Premier League match, let's have a look. Well done to Bologna, a Champions League side not cocking it up today. Leicester and Fulham. Well, we had this earlier on for Leicester, didn't we? I think it was midweek. And I was telling you on Telegram, Leicester side under Ruud van Nistelrooy, highly unlikely to get a 0-0 full time. And we got first goal in the 52nd minute, second one 78. So we might not be able to last too long in this one. This might just be a simple lay the draw if you fancied it. Leicester just have trouble scoring goals at home. Fulham a little bit more accomplished. You can also check as well second half goal scoring records for today's 3 o'clocks. Brentford tend to see both teams to score at home, don't you? Ordinarily. That's what you saw with the Man City match as well. Goals scored, goal times all the way at the bottom here. Home for the home side. 45% of goals scored, 52% of goals conceded have come in the second half. For Liverpool, it's 57% of their goals scored and 50% of the goals conceded. So we've got an as equal a chance of there being second half goals as there are first half. Over 2.5 goals. The stats are superb for Brentford this season. To be perfectly honest with you, they really are rock solid. Overall, goals for, we're looking at overs. So we just find the overs. 82% overs at home. That should have you salivating over a lay the draw second half. You saw it with the Man City game, didn't you? I think it was 0-0 at half-time. 70% overs away from home. But don't forget the previous pre-Champions League loss for Liverpool came in that match there, didn't it? Against Nottingham Forest. This was one of the first times that Arne Slot was shown as manager pre-Champions League, and he failed the test there. That 0-0 against Man City stays in the mind from midweek. 0-0 at half-time. Took until the 66th minute for goals to arrive. We've got the West Ham we've got the Leicester match. This is likely to see an earlier goal, I would suggest. This is a carbon copy, isn't it? Leicester against London opponents, 0-0 at half-time. London opponents should be a lot sturdier. But you can try this experiment again. 1.29, half stake. Very low liability. Hope it's 0-0 for long enough for you to get a lay the draw at very short odds. Or you could just pile straight in, do your third of liability as loss, or you could see it through to the 90th minute. As Bosun says, it's a league where you don't expect 0-0s. We can have a look. Goals. No, this probably isn't the one. We want to have a look at the status of nil-nils. Clean sheets. So I'm not sure how to get the nil-nil stats for the Premier League. But I'm sure there's a stat there somewhere which will show you. What you can do as well, In Play Guru's got its second half goal scoring averages. Be worth just paying attention to these to see if you can find yourself a pattern. Is it perhaps the 1.6s that tend to see the second half goals more, that kind of thing? If you can find yourself a pattern where you get, for example, got a 1.6 second half for Hammers, but don't forget new manager, 0.6 and 1 second half goals, 1.2 and 1.4. This is second half goals conceded, I think. Leicester and Fulham, certainly this would be my more confident one. I think Leicester and Fulham, looking for a second half goal early. West Ham and Crystal Palace, new manager syndrome. Graham Potter could see things remaining a little bit tighter. Hopefully it'll be tight enough that we can lay that draw at far, far lower odds. But obviously Liverpool are the dominant force against Brentford. But 4 goals in Brentford's last match in the second half should augur well for a lay the draw. But don't forget, this is pre-Champions League for Liverpool. They are away from home. That could be the reason for any underperformance today. Fulham, no shots on target, but similar story for Leicester at the midweek against Crystal Palace. I don't think they'll be able to hold out. They have trouble themselves scoring at home. So you'd be more reliant on Fulham rather than Leicester. Port Vale and Newport, much of a muchness that one now for me, now that we've made our nice bit of profits on that comeback in the Leipzig match and that Cremonese second half lay the draw. London derbies I won't tend to play, but we keep an eye on that one. Highly likely we're going to see a goal in this match. The huge over 2.5 goal percentages for Brentford, particularly compelling. Season long, last 8 matches and at home, ticking all of the boxes. And if you saw that today at the website, you would agree with me. Let's see. I should have sent you some Premier League research today. And over 2.5 goal stats, which are predominantly for, I can't find it, but they're predominantly for Brentford, in Brentford's favour. Brentford and Aston Villa were the standouts today in all categories for over 2.5 goals. But don't forget, Aston Villa pre-Champions League, Arsenal pre-Champions League. I think Liverpool should be a confident play with Brentford as far as getting that 0-0 ended. So thanks, Bosun, for that reminder. All 3 Premier League sides 0-0 at halftime is really a rarity. You can see that 92 attacking pressure index for Liverpool, starting off on the front foot. We know Brentford have goals in them as well. 2 of them against Manchester City midweek. We've already got some suspenders. And that's Portsmouth and Middlesbrough. That's a goal for Crystal Palace against West Ham. So that's one of the 0-0s ending. So if you do get involved straight away, well done. I don't know what to expect with the new manager syndrome for West Ham. That's my only problem. So that's a lost liability there. How long can we hold out for these two? Probably not too long with Leicester City. That's the problem. Liverpool, well, looking rock solid, aren't they? 5 shots on 14 off 9 corners. Living on their nerves, Brentford, a little bit. Did take 66 minutes for Man City to break through midweek. So we remain hopeful. That's 20 minutes from now. Have to get the old prayer mat out. Salford City, can they get us a single goal? Because if they can, that will salvage at least 30 odd quid from the +1 market there. But as Stuart has told us, the new manager for Fleetwood, is probably the reason behind this very sudden scoring of 2 goals against a side who are keeping clean sheet wins for fun. 2-0 for Hibs. Yeah, West Ham Crystal Palace. And there's a Leicester Fulham. So I did warn you, possibility of an early Leicester goal. So thank you very much, Bosun, for that. If you took action immediately, well done. I thought it was a bit too much of me to expect a Leicester City match to be 0-0 for a long period of time. I think I was being a little cavalier there. But we did get very, very short odds. That's probably also an idea that the market's expecting goals. But thanks very much for that reminder, Bosun, and I hope you got involved right at the beginning of the second half in both of those matches. Just the Liverpool match to go against Brentford, and that was 4-goal Brentford last time. So really, that should be an obvious one. I'm not going to be doing anything in this. It's a London derby with a new manager, so I can pick my battles. Unlikely we're going to see anything from Leicester City. They've failed to score, I think, in 3 consecutive matches. What a poor appointment Ruud van Nistelrooy was. Ruud van Nistelrooy was a very strange appointment. He's got no past history, particularly of getting sides out of a relegation dogfight. So an absolute mystery there. We can get rid of that one. If it is a 1-1, then fair enough. Liverpool and Brentford, we should be seeing plenty of goals, but that'll probably be sod's law, ending 0-0 late on. You can have a look immediately with the Liverpool and look at the lay the draw. It's just a simple lay to back, isn't it? You lay here, you back off here. It's as simple as that. So if you did get involved, well done. You've got Bosun to thank just for reminding us. West Ham, again, it's going to be the same story. It's a simple lay to back, isn't it? But this, well, you lay there, 2.5, back off there, bang, lay back. Liverpool, it was about 3.85. What is it now? I know we're still relatively early in the second half, but the longer we delay, the lower the odds to lay. Well, it's not moving at all, is it? The market's extremely confident with Liverpool. So this is probably not a good example of one of my ideas. And this tells you the story, isn't it? 1.13 expectation for goals. This hasn't budged at all. The market's extremely positive about there being second half goals, and I don't blame them. More cock-ups from pre-Champions League. PSV, are they going to be joining Dortmund, Monaco and Girona as Champions League sides losing matches? And don't forget Leipzig, of course. Our old pals Leipzig cocking things up to our profit, which is excellent. Besiktas, well worth following today. I think we can ignore Turkish 1 League. We've got better football on our hands. Atletico Madrid. Well, I did give you that stat midweek about Atletico Madrid. Do you remember it? Can you trust it pre-Champions League? Don't forget, they do tend to struggle pre-Champions League despite winning. Let's have a look. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Those of you who were about midweek, you know what I'm on about. You can see it as clear as day. You probably see it with Leganes. Look at this. 10 goals conceded by Leganes in the last half hour of home matches. Wow. But let's have a look. There we go. Wow. 24 of 34 goals scored at all season for Atleti come second half. It's more pronounced at home, where they were playing midweek, and they got that second half goal at home to make it 1-0. A little less pronounced away from home. Don't forget, it's pre-Champions League as well, but they do normally turn up and deliver. So wait for that second half to arrive. Haven't really been playing the cup. This is a welcome distraction for Aberdeen, who've been in awful form in the SPL. Diddy David Hamilton playing Musselbrook, 1.07 favourite. Well, we'll just keep an eye on that one. St Johnstone and Motherwell, don't think I'll be playing that. Dunfermline already 3-0 up. 1.42 Queens. Probably liquidity is the issue here today. 1.9 favourite Ross. Are they up for the cup? Adrionians against Dumbarton. 8 corners to 2 for Dumbarton. Queen of the South, 1.33. Well, no, St Mirren, 1.33. Cove Rangers. Any potential shocks? Well, not really. I don't see Celtic's name anywhere. Maybe they're playing a little bit later. Don't forget, they are pre-Champions League as well, Celtic. Maastricht, good result for them. There's still no goal yet in the Liverpool match, but we're highly unlikely to be getting much fun out of my second half draw strategy, unless you're simply laying the draw right at the beginning of the second half. You're cleaning up, basically, with some nice later back trades. Holston Kiel against the mighty Hoff. Good performance from the Hoff today. Well done to Bochum. That 3-3 might be layable late on. Bayern Munich, doesn't look like there's going to be any trouble from them today. And similar story for Stuttgart, who admittedly don't tend to cock things up pre-Champions League. Heidenheim against St. Pauli. I think Heidenheim or St. Pauli might be vulnerable late on. While it's 1-0, let's just break off and have a look at Heidenheim and St. Pauli. Are St. Pauli layable late on? There's certainly relegation 6-pointer, you'd argue. Look at this, 4 goals here, 2 goals here for Heidenheim. Clean sheets as well. You could arguably have taken on that St. Pauli lead with insurance if you fancied it. Where's that second goal for St. Pauli? Last time was against the mighty Hoff. 5 goals in 2 matches for Heidenheim. So it does signal potential late lay of St. Pauli as a throwaway lay. Keep your liability low. 9 goals conceded, though, by Heidenheim in the second half of matches. They've scored 3 goals in the 61st to 75th. They're not exactly Harry Kane-like in their goal scoring, are they? So it'd have to be a speculative play. But in hindsight, it would have been a good match for the insurance lay of St. Pauli. Well, we're edging closer. The draw odds are dropping, but highly likely we're going to be seeing a second half goal. Highly unlikely that I'll be able to show you this at work. We want to see this getting to 7 or 8 quid before we lay the draw. The lower you lay the draw, if you're going to be using £40, the lower you lay, the more profit potentially you'll make. As things stand now, bang, only a £14 profit. That's why this idea, trying to create a break even. So if I'm able to show you it, I hope that will come across as something you can think about using. So let's just catch up. We've got the Scottish FA Cup. Just got that equaliser for Ross County. There we go. Well, it's 1.9 at home, Ross County. So we've missed that opportunity there. Moving on down, Portuguese Secunda, Santa Clara, Estoril. And look at Vale. This is the German Dry League, though. And they've already got the goal. Highly likely. Like the Gambian Armed Forces. I wouldn't be playing them and losing. Although they are playing Team Rhino. Steve Biko FC as well, playing today in Gambia. Lens, Paris Saint-Germain involved in the Champions League. You've just seen PSV concede the opening goal and concede at 1-1. This is all down to Champions League problems, so just be careful with that. New manager syndrome for West Ham. We just don't know what to expect from Graham Potter. If we can't read the match, don't play the match. Simple as that. Plenty of goals. And there's that equaliser for Heidenheim. I didn't pull the trigger. What a pity. That was the 88th minute as well. So if any of you did, well done. It wasn't with any huge confidence, was it? But well worth taking on. And as I said, this would have been a wonderful insurance play on St. Pauli in hindsight. Lay over 1.5 goals to cover that 0-1 for St. Pauli. And look for a Heidenheim late equaliser. Bang. There it comes. That would have been a wonderful play. That's why we do insurance for these very, very late equalisers. And effectively, you're going to make a full profit because you're highly unlikely to be seeing a St. Pauli winner. So what a pity I didn't follow my instinct there. And indeed, what a pity I didn't lay them late on. So we can get rid of that. Bochum and Leipzig, you could lay the draw late on if you fancied it. It wouldn't surprise me to see a Leipzig win. They did score 4 goals against Werder Bremen in their last match. Brentford and Liverpool continues at 0-0. Is this going to be a pre-Champions League struggle? All the time, the draw odds are getting lower and lower, but it's going to be a long slog to odds on, isn't it? Already up to £1.21 here. Can we get any more? The longer we wait, the bigger the profit. But they're highly unlikely, though, that this is going to end 0-0. Just logically, you're thinking. But no shots on target second half yet for Liverpool. 19 off. Plenty of pressure. And the corner count double figures as well. If you think Van Nistelrooy is bad, what about Nuri Sahin for Dortmund? They both went to the same coaching institute as Wayne Rooney. Indeed, Bosun, Wayne Rooney, football genius, by the way. If you want your side relegated, rather than getting, who was it, Big Sam Allardyce or old El Twitchio, Harry Redknapp, to get you out of jail, you hire Wayne Rooney to make sure you get relegated. That's his job, the old granny shagger. Wayne Rooney, football genius. Oh, boy. Well done, Bosun. Thank you very much for that reminder to us about the 3 Premier League clubs. I do hope members fill their boots and lay the draw straight away. Just Brentford and Liverpool to go. But plenty of secondary pressure for Liverpool. No shots on target, though. I can't watch the match. I don't know why. It's just frozen. It's really irritating. A match you want to watch, it just suddenly freezes with the stream, and the match you don't want to watch will happily play on. So I don't know what's going on there. I'm just going to restart the tablet. So thanks very much, Bosun. You can see no shots on target really second half for Liverpool, or indeed for Brentford. All the while, we're getting down to 3.2 now. And this profit is rising slowly. But I don't think this will be a good match to show you as an example of my technique. Although they're doing a good job. We're getting to the hour mark without a goal being scored. But now the attacking pressure is starting to warm up. Similar story for Salford. Can we just get a single goal from Salford? We had this kind of scenario with Feyenoord midweek. Got a 0-2 to 1-2. And that came in the 82nd minute, that 1-2, and you still got out. Oh, the Heidenheim goal has been disallowed. It might signal the potential to take on St. Pauli very late on. But this still is a very, very good example to you of the insurance play. You've still got that 0-1 covered. Can we get that 1-1? Is it going to be allowed? Coventry 3-2. Bayern against the Wolf. Is it going to be some late cock-up action pre-Champions League for Bayern Munich? I didn't lay them at 3-1. I should have done, shouldn't I? Because this is the time when these sides underperform. And there we go. A late goal for St. Pauli, making it 0-2 from 1-1. So heartbreak had we done the insurance. That would just be a real sickener, wouldn't it? 0-1 to 0-2. So I'm glad in the end I didn't get involved there. But it did look a good play, insurance-wise. But a late swipe for St. Pauli when Heidenheim, you thought, had it in the bag. Ouch. I don't know if you want to lay the late draw here, Leipzig and Bochum Dano. Take on a bit of your profit. This is what I would do. We've already made a decent return here. What I would do, sacrifice £4 for the chance of an extra 53. 1.09 to win £23. 1.06 to win £32. Now just sit back. You're already guaranteed a profit, so don't worry about it. But if you want the possibility of a very, very late goal, 1.09 or lower, this will win you £53 for a £4 stake. Well worth it. You can leave this match alone now. Doesn't matter what happens. You've profited. But if you get a very, very late goal for either side, you're going to clean up. That'd be fantastic. All the while, we've had that first shot on target second half for Liverpool FC. This is a typical pre-Champions League performance, isn't it? This is what happened when they played Nottingham Forest all the way back in September. Struggle, struggle, struggle. Why? Because it's pre-Champions League. Arne Slot needs to be juggling the Champions League with the Premier League title. Can he do it? That's the question. Just trying to work out my tablet. Decided not to work, so I can't watch the Liverpool match. It's a pity. More Champions League cock-ups afoot. Leganes have opened up against Atletico Madrid. Now, Atletico Madrid, I've already shown you, are one of those sides who do cock it up pre-Champions League, but they don't lose. They tend to win. Is this going to be one of those days? You're going to have to take insurance out here. It might be a little bit high. The Leganes have taken the lead. I'm just going to confirm that because 0.5 is still here. No. We've just seen that Atleti do not tend to cock it up, even though they tend to have to battle to get the win. Don't forget they were 1-3 down. 1-3 down to Sevilla and won 4-3 pre-Champions League. Laying over 1.5 goals. It's very big, isn't it? That's the problem. The insurance is very big. Atletico Madrid +1. It's relatively small, isn't it? Considering the insurance is 1.31. You're going to have to go match odds, I'm afraid. Half stake. So if you're playing £40, it's £19.60 because it's £40 minus insurance. But just round it up to £20. Back Atleti at 4.3, very juicy. But we might see a draw here. You never know. Pre-Champions League is the time for them to cock things up. Lay Leganes, half stake as liability. I'll have to pass this one on to Telegrammers. Will Atletico Madrid continue their record of winning while struggling pre-Champions League? We'll find out. So I'll just pass this one on. Leganes 1, Atletico Madrid 0. This is pre-Champions League Atletico Madrid. You've just seen Leipzig cock things up. PSV cocking things up. Dortmund lose yesterday. Monaco lose yesterday. Atletico Madrid are 1 goal down. I've laid over 1.5 goals. I've had to go into the match odds. I've backed Atletico Madrid half stake, laid Leganes half stake as liability. I've checked uk.soccerway.com. Atletico Madrid tend to win pre and post Champions League, but notably have tended to have to battle. The most famous of those was a 1-3 down to Sevilla. In the middle of the second half, they ended up winning 4-3. So we've got a chance here that Atletico Madrid can get us back on parity second half, but they're running out of time. It is pre-Champions League, but watch out. Substitutes about 60th plus minute mark could change the game. I wonder if Antoine and his beautiful hair is playing today. Normally tends to do the job. Newport, Port Vale have made it 2-2. So if you've stuck with them today, well done. I'd rather be with Atletico Madrid, to be honest, than Port Vale. No offence to Port Vale and its fans. Bolton. Those of you who are fans of Bolton, apart from Amir Khan and fat funny man Peter Kay, you might see an equaliser at some point there. So keep an eye on that one. Bolton and Cambridge United. Atletico Madrid, 3 shots on, 7 off 3 corners, 33 dangerous attacks to 10. Let's just check the team news for Atleti. And Leicester are doing, Fulham are doing exactly what Crystal Palace did midweek against Leicester City, 0-2. Why on earth do people like Ruud van Nistelrooy and Wayne Rooney get jobs in management and they get paid huge amounts of money as well? It's crazy, man. Let's just have a look at the team sheet for Atleti. Have they rested anyone? Are they bringing on any subs? Conor Gallagher for Lino. Pre-match lineups strong enough. Antoine is playing. Alvarez, normally one or two of these are rested. No nepotism here at all, of course. Simeone's son. Purely deserved, of course, because there's obviously millions of clubs clamouring for his name, but he happens to get in his dad's side. Fancy that. Rodrigo de Paul can normally get you out of jail. Barrios, Conor Gallagher been substituted. Galin, Longley, and Normand. It's a very French back lineup. And Oblak, the usual goalkeeper as well. On the bench, anyone can change the game. Axel Witsel, Lorente, Lamar from Kajagoogoo, he might be able to do something, and Correa. So I would be looking for some subs about the 60th minute mark for Atleti if they don't get a goal before then. But as you've seen, I've already shown you, they do not tend to cock things up pre-Champions League, but they do tend to be in a position where it looks as if they're cocking things up, and they do tend to end up with wins. So let's hope that Atletico Madrid are up for it today. Liverpool, only the 1 shot on target, second half. All the while, the draw odds are getting shorter and shorter. They're now down to 2.96. Sorry, no, they're not. That's the Atletico Madrid match. Let's go to the Liverpool match. Oh, side netting. Side netting. That was close. 2.48 now. So you'll see. While we're waiting, the draw odds are getting low. West Brom have equalised. The Baggies have equalised. Excellent stuff. So let's check out that one. But as you can see, this is now up to £4. We're trying to get this up to 8 or 9 quid if we can. But you're only going to lose £2.60 if they get the goal. Now, by delaying, it was 17 a minute ago, wasn't it? It's now 27 quid. Extra 10 quid there. It's working so far. This is the time to take on these big guns or to expect them not to oblige. Let's have a break and look at the West Brom match. I wouldn't have suggested going match odds here. I think +1 would have been adequate given the clean sheets or the clean sheet records of late of Stoke. But that's a decent enough return in and of itself. You're going to be losing 6 quid here. You'll be picking up 23 here. Don't forget, if you did make that loss on Fleetwood Town, this all helps. And I would recommend if you do make a loss early on, please, as your mother used to say, clean up your greens. Okay? If you did go match odds, well, I didn't go match odds because of that 2 consecutive 0-0s. That could be the Liverpool goal, could be a Brentford goal. One match of interest has a suspended market. Not sure who it is, but I've got Football 24 up. So take that green. I think it's well worth adding it to Cremonese and all of the rest, and you've overcompensated for Fleetwood, haven't you? So well done to the baggies. You can stay in if you wanted. It's all down to the in-play stats and whether you know the baggies better than me. But this is compelling, isn't it? 2 shots on, 13 off, 11 corners, 63 dangerous attacks. Really solid stuff from the baggies. And we know they're scoring 2+ goals, so you don't have to get out if you don't want to, okay? But don't blame me if you don't get out and it ends up 1-2 to Stoke, okay? Don't forget the new manager syndrome that Stuart has reminded us about. So I'll leave that up to you. In-play stats are really brilliant. We know they've been scoring 2+ goals very, very regularly, okay? Port Vale and Newport, well, that's passed me by, hasn't it, really? And Salford, this is all down to that new manager syndrome. Had I known about it earlier on, I would have probably not pulled the trigger. But Salford's form was just so compelling, wasn't it? Clean sheet wins, consecutive clean sheet wins. And Fleetwood only scoring 2 goals on 1 occasion away from home. Baggies, 100+ attacking pressure index. That's what you want to see. Already got the draw, so you can clean up if you want. Take advantage. That'll take half of your liability loss away if you played Fleetwood. So don't forget, if you've had a loss earlier on in the session, you do clean up, and collect your greens. Okay. Diddy David Hamilton, 1-1, 1.07 shot. This is one of those cup matches. They don't look up for the cup at all, do they? Total. Like a few of the Paris side, few of the French sides midweek. 1.07 drawing 2-2. 1.03, I think, Paris Saint-Germain 1-0 down and then 2-1 down. So some of these cup matches, well, you might want to remember these in the future. You might want to take on short odds favourites in cup matches because time and time again, they just can't be bothered, or they put out, quite obviously, an inferior side. We can get rid of MK Walsall. They're obviously top of the league for a reason. 3-1 up there. Come on, Atleti. It's the hour mark. Cometh the hour, cometh the subs, I would suggest. Yeah, here they come. Look, the hour mark. This is exactly what your man does. Koke and Lorente coming on for Barrios and Molina. Let's have a look at one midfielder, probably an attacking midfielder. And let's have a look at Koke. Another midfielder. So hopefully attacking midfielders. Hopefully you're going to make a difference. We've already got the big guns on. Alvarez and Antoine Griezmann have been in exceptional form. We do know this is pre-Champions League, so you've got to cover that 1-0 for the Gunners and hope it doesn't become a 2-0. But if it does, stick with it. You saw what happened. Let me show you. You're hoping that Atletico Madrid will remember this very, very memorable comeback here. This was pre-Champions League as well. 1-3 down after 57 minutes. On comes the subs. There's Koke again. Conor Gallagher's already been subbed. Sorloth has been in the goals, in the mix with the goals. Julian Alvarez. Lino is already coming on now. And Correa. So it's a similar story, isn't it? Axel Witsel coming on late, and off we go. 4-3. That's what we're hoping for. They are vying for the title, Atletico Madrid, as well. So we're going to get 110% covering every blade of grass. Look at the baggies. Potential for them to get their 2 goals as usual. I will just pass this on to Telegrams in case they want to take the profit. West Brom have equalised against Stoke City. It's up to you if you want to take the profit. I'll pass on whether you want to stay in 85 attacking pressure index, 3 shots on target for West Brom, 15 shots off target, 11 corners to 0, 65 dangerous attacks to 22. If you want to stay in, you've got the opportunity to make a little bit more of a gain on West Brom. But if you did get involved with Fleetwood earlier on, looks like you'd be making a loss on that one. So hoover up your greens if you want to. Brentford and Liverpool remains 0-0. It's the only 0-0 in the Premier League, which was 0-0 at half time. Thank you to Bosun for reminding YouTube live stream members of that. We're using a special technique here of laying over 1.5 goals, and we've yet to lay the draw in the Liverpool-Brentford match. The longer we wait, the bigger the odds, and we can still have the opportunity to break even. More potential shocks as Lens take the lead against PSG. You know why. That's probably the Liverpool match, is it? I would suspect. It's a red card for West Ham. Not a good start for Graham Harry Potter. Let's have a look at the Liverpool draw odds. Are they short enough for you to get interested in? All the while, we don't lay the draw odds get lower and lower, but the likelihood of it being 0-0 increases, doesn't it? Now it's odds on. Now you'll make more than you risk. But how much profit have we got on this so far? Up to £8. Excellent. So good stuff. So we've got an £8 head start. Okay. Now you can consider laying the draw, and you'll still make £40. What we need to be doing is keeping an eye, making sure that this profit equals but doesn't exceed the loss amount that will appear here while it remains 0-0. That way we can wait for them both to gain parity and then cash out, having given Liverpool and Brentford a window to score a single goal for us to make a far, far better return. Remember, all those minutes ago, it was £17 profit, wasn't it? It's now up to 44. So every moment we're delaying, of course, we're running the risk of there being a goal scored. But this is a typical scoreline of a pre-Champions League side, isn't it? But don't forget the late action for Brentford against Manchester City. Curtis Jones is coming on for Liverpool. Szoboszlai is coming off, and Harvey Elliott coming on. So again, it could signal the use of extra players not involved in the Champions League next week. But it's good stuff so far. These are subs at the moment, so we don't lay the draw just yet. We're now down to 1.8. The longer you delay, you're up to £50 profit here. If we can get a single goal, and we're up to £8.87. But the problem I found with this is that this does degrade quickly. So you've got a very small window for there to be a goal scored, but you've got a chance of a very big profit. And look at Port Vale. If you stuck with them throughout, they should be doing what Salford were expected to do. And that's a 3-2 lead for Port Vale. If you stuck with them throughout, well done. Well, I was put off a little bit by that Salford Fleetwood result. It's really, it's a very dodgy league. 80th minute now. Liverpool, how long can we wait before pulling the trigger and laying the draw? 83rd minute now. Must win really for Liverpool. But the Aston Villa and Arsenal match will take on even greater significance if this ends 0-0. Because Arsenal will have to win. Don't forget, Arsenal pre-Champions League. Aston Villa pre-Champions League. So I'm 2 minutes behind in the match that I'm watching. But you can tell the Liverpool shot stats have been pretty poor second half. Only the one shot on target, 27 off. But Brentford will take that all day long as they're off target. But 15 corners is a hell of a lot of pressure. Floating that ball in to the Brentford penalty area. I'm going to be looking at laying that draw soon. Our profit is already up to heading towards a tenner. So let me show you what I would do now. I would be laying this draw. You could lay it for 20 and leave it if you want. Then you could have a break even, couldn't you? That is an option. You still make 28 quid. So that's a ready option for you, isn't it? Without you having to cash out. So why don't we go with that? And then you can just leave it. That way you're in for the whole 90 minutes. How about that? So let's give that a go. Ordinarily, what I would do would be a £40 stake here. And I'd look for this amount to equal this amount. So once this amount equals this amount, I cash out for a break even. Having bought myself a chunk of time for there to be a goal scored. But this looks like an excellent avenue, doesn't it? Still make 28 quid here. And you've got the 0-0 covered. Very nice indeed. And you can still decide to get out at a guaranteed profit without a goal being scored. So that's nicely engineered, that. I didn't show you my usual technique of using a full stake, but let's try this £20 one, because that makes sense, doesn't it? You can stay until 90th minute now, can't you? And we can leave this alone, because we know the later the goal scored, the more likely it's going to be the winner. Excellent stuff. No shots on target. More second half shots on target from Brentford, 4 of them, compared to Liverpool's 1. This is a typical pre-Champions League performance. Arne Slot has in the back of his mind the Champions League against, I think, Bayer Leverkusen. So I think they're playing Bayer. You can always check that out. Lille, sorry, they're at home to Lille. Lille getting the win against Nice yesterday. So Lille having a game in hand. Sorry, a day in hand. Leganes Atletico Madrid. Got 20 minutes to go for Atleti. They've brought on their substitutes. Got a red card for Salford now, so that pretty much puts paid to that match. And it's a gentle reminder to me to try and find out about new managers, because it's key, isn't it? I wouldn't have got involved had there been knowledge about that new manager. We can get rid of this now. Very gentle reminder. New managers vitally important. Bolton, old not lob if you're Monty Python fans. 4 shots on, 9 off, 5 corners. Very under par. Suspended market. Who is it? Which of our teams has been suspended? Is it Atletico? Is it Brentford Liverpool? I don't know. Is it the end of one of the German matches? Probably not. No, 4:44. Let's have a look at some of these outsider matches. Is there anything for us to pick up? Any odds-ons? Well, they're all performing apart from Atletico Madrid, and we know why. Pre-Champions League. Got a penalty for Crystal Palace after that West Ham 0-1. That's probably what that was for. Graham Potter's men not having the best of times. So we've got Arsenal and Aston Villa to come up later on. It's a must-win now for the Arsenal. Must get something out of this one if Liverpool drop 2 points today, pre-Champions League. PSG, another struggle for another pre-Champions League side. So we're going to look on that one with interest. Do we stick or do we twist? That's the problem, isn't it? That's the dilemma you have pre-Champions League. We know these sides are going to underperform. But do we stay with them because they are the best side? PSV, again, we know by far they're the better side. But this is pre-Champions League. You see how vitally important it is losing, lost, pre-Champions League. Old Harry Potter's not having a good time at Hammers. London derby ending 0-2. So we don't need to know about that one. I wouldn't have played anyway. I wouldn't have been looking for an equaliser in that one. New manager syndrome, you just don't know. And it's a London derby. You don't want to be playing London derbies. All the while, Brentford and Liverpool. The longer you wait, you could even put £20 in now if you wanted. Boom. That'd be up to 77. This is up to 14. So you've got until that gets to 14 or higher. You could bump it up a little bit more. There's all sorts you can do. If you take a chance on it being a concerted 0-0. Well, that's irritating a little bit there. Thank you. So to go back to my games, which is all the odds-on favourites. So we could have laid the draw second half here, and for the other match, as Bosun said. And this would have been the one I would have expected goals in. But it's completely the other way round. The launch goal against PSG came from open play. Looking at the PSG lineup, are they resting any plays? Well, Barcola's playing. He's the key. Really is an excellent player. But this is a far cry, isn't it, from the Neymar, Mbappe, Messi days, isn't it? Liverpool very, very close. Mo Salah just past the post. But this is back in the 88th minute. This could be a good one for 109, 106 as well, couldn't it? Add another £4. Risk. Possibility of a late winner. And this is the second occasion now that Arne Slot and his Liverpool side have underperformed pre-Champions League. It's a consistent problem throughout the season. I'm going to put in a 109 and a 106 to win 32. Just in case we get that suspended already. So have we got that goal? And if so, who's it gone to? If it's gone to Brentford, it's gone to Liverpool. And look at that, we've cleaned up. We have cleaned up. Now imagine if that had been 40 quid. That you'd be looking at 50, 60 quid there. So excellent performance, I thought. Please cash out. So you're making a £2.60 loss here. Make a 25 quid profit here. Could have been a lot more, couldn't it? But that gives you the opportunity to stay into the death. Just want to have a look at the goal. And Bolton have equalised against Cambridge. If you trusted the 1.4 shots at home, I gave them a small mention earlier on. Those of you who did follow up, well done. I just want to have a look at this Liverpool goal. It's probably going to have to wait because it's a little bit delayed. Vitally important for Liverpool, this. There it is. And he's taking his shirt off, get a yellow card. It's Darwin Núñez. Darwin couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. Núñez. It's a vitally important goal. This could change Liverpool's season. Brentford are disconsolate. But that's a great way of laying the draw second half, isn't it? Got a really good profit out of that one. So we can get rid of that. Now, those of you who fancy a cheeky one, don't forget Brentford scored 2 late goals against Manchester City. You could always lay Liverpool late on at these odds. It's likely to be. Oh. Is it a VAR goal? Is it an equaliser? No, it could be a second goal for Liverpool. Indeed it is. He's doing an Ahmad. It can't be Darwin Núñez again, can it? Late action. Well, we had late action with the Man City Brentford match, but this is an excellent result for Liverpool, really is. Doesn't matter when the goals come in as long as you win. So we've got a second Liverpool goal, guaranteeing a profit. I was just about to lay Liverpool at 1.05 because of Brentford's late goals midweek against Manchester City. But they've really gone for it now. Just want to have a look at that second goal. And it's 3 against 2 in defence. There we go. That's it. Job done. Darwin scores 2. Wow. It's about time he scored a goal. West Brom and Stoke. I would recommend you cash out now if you've stayed in. You don't want a late Stoke winner. Is that the end of the match? I hope it is. If it is, that's a nice profit to add to the collection today. Don't forget, this is all very small stakes. That's the whole point of it, being small, manageable stakes. We're not going to be hugely out of pocket if we have a losing session, which is a rarity. I do try to pick out the best, and we do our due diligence, and we do use our in-play stats to make sure. And you do miss out on a few unless you played the Bolton equaliser late on. I sincerely hope you did. Just waiting on Atletico Madrid, really, to do a late Darwin Núñez and what's his name? Ahmad from Manchester United. That would be excellent for Atleti. A couple of Antoine Griezmann late goals. But we've got that 1-0 covered. But it's quite expensive insurance, 13 quid. So if he ends a draw, you will be losing about 17 quid. If you're willing to take that, then hold on out for the possibility of the win. But this is another, like Liverpool, another really laboured pre-Champions League performance. I might move over to watch the Atletico Madrid match as it ends. And don't forget, you've got PSV struggling today. Do you trust them, or do you know that it's pre-Champions League and they could wobble? PSG, 1 goal down. Do you trust them, or do you think pre-Champions League could be another wobbler for them? Young boys playing Celtic in the Champions League. Watch out for them. Even though they're 1.27, are they going to cock it up or not? So just waiting for the end there. Excellent result for Liverpool. Didn't see that coming, did we? But that is real pressure. 29 shots off target, 15 corners. Matter of time. But did not expect Darwin Núñez to do the scoring. The manager will be delighted with that. So I think as we're coming to an end, I'll say goodnight to you. Just waiting on Atletico Madrid. 1936, Bosun. The last time Liverpool and Brentford was 0-0. I think James Milner was playing in that match, wasn't he, Bosun? In 1936, I think he made his debut. Sorry I missed out your Luton and Preston. No 0-0 at home. Preston has 2 0-0s away this season. I'm not sure of the final score there. Thanks very much for everyone attending. I think this is the end of the session now. We're just waiting on any action from Diego Simeone's boys. Again, are they going to be doing a Liverpool and getting a late pair of goals? They tend to get themselves out of jail. Are you decided or not about PSV Eindhoven? Are you decided or not about Paris Saint-Germain? This is the problem. These are obviously the best sides, obviously, by a country mile. But are they just distracted by the Champions League? Thanks a lot to everyone turning up. And I'll try out your pin tats. So thanks very much for that. Hope to see you again tomorrow. I'm not sure what the coupon looks like tomorrow, but don't forget that I don't think we'll have many Champions League sides playing tomorrow because they're playing Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're not going to have the curse tomorrow. Everton, new manager against Tottenham. New manager, question mark. Old Ange, not having a good time. Man United need old Ahmad to get them out of jail against Southampton. This is a tough match against Brighton, I would suggest. Nottingham Forest flying high. Saints put in a good shift against Man United. Could do so against Forest, but Forest could end up winning, I would say, 2-0. Ipswich against Man City. Ipswich have been very defensively sound, but they just get found out. Don't forget, Champions League side playing away from home could be vulnerable. Saint-Etienne, Nantes. I don't think we have any Champions League sides playing. Marseille, perhaps. But it's certainly Monaco. Lille. I don't remember seeing Marseille. If they are to play, it would be on a Wednesday. Nope. No Marseille. But Man City playing on a Wednesday. Paris Saint-Germain playing today. So it's an okay coupon tomorrow. I'll probably see you for a live stream. Hope you can make it. You can see if you're turning up, you get a lot of added bonuses you won't get on the Telegram. Inter, very strong at the moment. Cagliari odds on. Fiorentina, are they going to get back to winning ways? Very, very defensive Torino. So thanks a lot for turning up. I hope you made some greens. Thank you very much, Tads. And thanks for your... I've made a note of it. So I'm going to try this tomorrow. Desk pins. So I'll have a look into that, Tads. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll be on hand a little bit later. I don't think the folks need me today. They're all happily in front of the TV watching Last of the Summer Wine yet again. But we've got some good footy coming up later on, don't we? Barcelona, Champions League. Barca are away from home. So I'll see you for a few more of these, I would suspect. Don't forget Feyenoord involved in the Champions League as well. Can we trust these sides? AC Milan, Champions League. Atalanta, Champions League. Bayer Leverkusen, Champions League. So it's just that question mark, isn't it? Can we trust them or not? Champions League, Champions League, Champions League. So big question mark. Brest away in the Champions League as well. Have a great day. Thanks a lot for coming along. Thanks a lot for your feedback as well, particularly all about those new managers. Very useful to know as well. Have a great day. I will see members on Telegram just for a couple more hours. And if there is a very strong trade, I'll pass it on to you on Telegram with screenshots on this occasion. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks very much for coming along.